This is Coda Radio, episode 327 for September 24th, 2018. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Coda Radio, Jupiter Broadcasting's weekly talk show, taking a pragmatic look at the art and business of software development and its related technology. This here episode is made fresh in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. My name is Chris, and joining me every single week from his tower, where he watches and observes all, and sometimes tweets about it as well, it's our host, Mr. Dominic. Hello, Mike.
I am the beginning and the end of Aqua.
Wow. He started with you, and now today it officially dies with you, too, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does, yeah.
Huh. Well, that's a moment that's just passed us by, and I didn't even really realize it. You know, being out of that whole Mac game now, like this Mojave release that came out today, I'm like, okay.
Wait,
right.
Did Mojave come out today?
I think it came out, yeah. At least I'm seeing, yeah, I think it did.
I'm such an awesome Apple developer.
You also have the worst purchasing timing of anybody that I've ever co-hosted with. Like, it's just atrocious, because, like, if you were to buy a Mac in a couple of days, it would come with Mojave preloaded. But no, not you.
No.
Well, Mr. Dominic, we have much to get into. We may have a surprise short show depending on if you get a certain phone call or not. But I thought maybe we'd do a little follow-up and feedback, and if we get to the Hoopla, we get to it. But I wanted to start with you, like a maniac, tweeting out there, is there any way to publish an iOS app to the App Store without a Mac? And you got a bunch of different like retorts and replies, some serious, some kind of funny.
Trolling, yeah.
Yeah, some of them, yeah. And then there was one, though, that came from Emily Carlson, and she said, have you checked out Mac in the Cloud? And at first I thought, what? What Mac in the Cloud? And then I went and looked at it. Mac in the Cloud is a leading cloud Mac solution provider with global presence. You can manage and access your Mac and Cloud servers from anywhere with internet access to develop apps and perform tasks that require a Mac. And then they say in big bold letters, why Mac and Cloud? And right there, they have Xamarin, boom, front and center. Node.js, boom, Android Studio, boom, PhoneGap, pow, Cordova, slam. I mean, and Xcode, I guess. This kind of almost seems like exactly like it would solve your problem. Like if you need a Mac to run one or two apps and then publish to the App Store, I mean, maybe Mac in the Cloud isn't ridiculous. And I don't know for you, but I started thinking for myself. So, okay, you can do pay as you go. It's $1 per hour. This obviously isn't an ad. I'm just looking at this right now. But their most popular plan is $20 a month. You get a static IP, 100 megabits, which can be upgraded to 1 gigabit. It says no admin access, though. You get access. You log in through RDP. It's a physical non-VM Mac server. And you can run things. It comes with like things like Xcode, iBooks Author, Application Launcher, and things like that. But they go all the way up. You know, they go huge.
Yeah, you can spend a pretty penny on this. Yeah,
you could be like more than $50 a month, things like that. And like for me, it's like I don't really have many Mac apps that I use anymore. But if there was one or two apps that I was just down to that I could RDP into a Mac in the cloud, I don't actually think that's that bad of an idea. Did you ever consider something like this? Because I know recently you were asking what people are doing.
Oh, did I consider it?
Oh, yeah.
So I actually tried it out, and it does indeed work.
How's the remote performance and stuff?
It's a little slow.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem for me is I've had a little bit of an adventure, and I think we'll bury the lead a little bit. But I also have now been informed that I'm going to be working on a fairly large iOS project.
Oh.
So this pricing doesn't scale if you if you need to do like continuous CI builds, things like that.
Yeah, that's no good.
But certainly if you're like a PhoneGap developer and you only like every once in a while do a physical Mac build, that makes a ton of sense.
Or like here at Jupiter Broadcasting, we have a Creative Cloud subscription for a couple of the production people, and I used to use it as well. But now that I'm on full-time Linux, I don't. And I think to myself, it'd be nice if I could run Creative Cloud in Wine and run the latest Photoshop in Wine, because we have a whole bunch of historical PSD files, plus a lot of people that we work with send us PSD files for us to review, and I can mostly view them fine, but if I even want to make a slight modification, pretty much I'm out. And if I could, for a couple of bucks, fire up a remote instance and use Creative Cloud and Photoshop, I mean, I would give it a consideration. And, it's not only Mac, but today, Microsoft announced their new hosted solution, which I don't actually think has a clear name yet. It's a virtual desktop that lets you run Windows 10 in the cloud. It's just Windows. I think they're just calling it Windows Virtual Desktop. It's an Azure-based service that provides a full virtualized multi-user Windows 10 experience, which includes Office 365 Pro Plus, all running on Azure. That's kind of a big announcement. And they say the service, this is the mind-bending part, will also include a free Windows 7 Extended Security Update license. Which I'm not really sure, so you're buying a Windows 10 virtualized desktop service that comes with Office 365, and as a selling perk, they're including Windows 7 Extended Security Updates license.
It actually makes a ton of sense for developers, though. If you have a line of business app that's kind of an internal app, let's say you're one of those dark matter developers, you may have some challenges bringing it up to Windows 10. So that Windows 7 Extended Support license is going to allow you to basically compare and contrast.
And run both. Yeah.
And run both, right.
Windows 7 on the local machine, which has probably been there for ages, and then you're remoting into the new Windows 10 desktop, which is the transition desktop, essentially.
Exactly. And then the idea, I mean, I'm sure people are going to use this for lots of things. I could see, thinner clients. I could see people with Chromebooks probably using this.
Totally. Well, again, I go back to myself. I'm like, maybe I don't bother with Wine for some of these business applications. Maybe I just have a virtual cloud instance. Amazon has something similar, but this is going to be straight from Microsoft. And they'll probably give away Azure credits to try it out. So,
there you go.
While the vendors out there are virtualizing these commercial operating systems that Mike needs to do his job, and he could just buy one really nice Linux machine. Instead, he seems to have wound up in the Apple Store recently. What happened, Mike? What happened?
So I want to talk to you about liquids and electronics.
Oh, yeah, we should start there. You're right. I saw this go by. I cannot believe this.
I was up late coding because I have very irresponsibly scheduled these last couple of months. I know you were sick, but I have too many things happening at once. So I got myself in one of these little binds where you just have to get stuff done. Like tomorrow, I'm traveling again, and I won't be back for a week.
Man,
right.
You're gonna need to sleep for a solid month.
Right. I feel like I'm just done after this trip. I'm home. Maybe one more by the end of the year, but I have to slow down. But when you're traveling, sometimes you run behind on coding, right? So I am enjoying a Samuel Adams Oktoberfest, standing at my kitchen island, pounding away on my MacBook Pro, and
oh no.
All of a sudden, I hear a noise.
No.
Thought it was the baby monitor.
The bottle fell over.
It was it was just my dog, but my elbow clipped the bottle, poured directly, and it was a new bottle, directly into the computer.
No.
The whole thing.
Oh, man.
So I was very upset, but then, all right, clean everything up. Then I said, to hell with it, I'm going to bed. This is 1 a.m. Next day I get up, I'm like, all right, this is when I tweet, how can I code Simon out of Mac? Because remember, this is only Friday,
right?
And I know that I'm traveling on Tuesday, so
the morning you get up, the tweet goes out. All right, I got to work today without the Mac.
I'm on the Galago. I'm on Pop, drinking some Earl Grey. Wife bumps into me.
No,
boom.
No, not the Galago.
Down goes the Galago.
No.
So within a day, actually, I thought it was 40 hours. It was a day, or a 24-hour period. I destroyed every laptop I own.
I'm just going to put this out there, but maybe you should just consider not using laptops.
I seriously am, right? This. So we had a conversation a few months ago about maybe we should just suck it up and buy desktops.
Yeah.
I used to have the Dell. I still do, but that's being used as a flight simulator for Griffin. So it can't be a dev desktop at the moment.
It's sort of busy.
So I'm in a bad position. And remember, it's iPhone launch weekend.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I iOS work that needs to be done, iOS stuff that needs to be demo. I have no Mac. I destroyed the Galago, and I need to buy a laptop to take in demo, right?
You don't even have
Like-
time for like a 2-day Amazon delivery here. Like you're,
Right.
you're
Don't even
down to
have
the
time.
wire.
I
Yeah.
checked Amazon. I'm down to the wire. I called Apple Care, and they're like, yeah, we might be able to fix that, but, your warranty's up.
Really?
That's fantastic. And even if we could do something for you, it'll be 2 weeks. No.
Oh yeah.
Because I have to ship it in. So I drive like a jackass on the Saturday of the iPhone launch to buy something at the Apple Store.
Oh my god. How bad was it? Was it super crowded?
It was surprisingly not that bad, but like there was a line outside the store, and I had to like grab one of the blue-shirted Apple.
Be
people.
like, I don't want a phone.
I'm a Mac. I'm here for a Mac. I need a Mac.
You remember how you guys used to sell Macs? I just want one of those.
There's like the silver things over there. Just give me one. So I ended up thinking, I'm done. I'm done spending like ridiculous money on laptops and destroying them. I tweeted it, and it's a running joke for our listeners that like I've killed every Mac I've touched.
Mm-hmm.
My employees have been having a lot of fun in Slack with this. So I bought a 13-inch, 8 gig.
Not with the damn
MacBook.
touch bar. No.
I did get the touch bar.
Oh, you got the damn touch bar. Oh my.
I didn't want the touch bar, but the only configuration of the non-touch bar they have was the super. Oh, this is the other thing. The Apple Store stocks nothing.
Yep. I
They
know.
only stock the base configurations. So I didn't get the highest. I got the second from the highest of the 13. And I'm done. Right? When either towers come out, either whether they be Apple or System 76 or Dell, next time I spend real money on a computer is going to be a tower.
Yeah.
It is going to sit on a desk. There is going to be a separate desk for any beverages. and for this laptop, I will be purchasing Apple Care. In fact, I already did.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, it might be worth it, huh?
At this point, I would have paid for Apple Care like 20 times. So
Wes is in the chat room, and I completely echo this. He says, note to self, don't let Mike near any of my computers.
yeah, no, I can't. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like mentally ill in this capacity. As soon as I see a beverage, I kind of just lean it right over.
You know what the worst part is? It's like, if that distracting event hadn't happened, it wouldn't have caused it to happen. Or like if if just one element of the situation changed, it's so hard. Like sometimes I replay those moments in my head over and over again, and I'm thinking, I'll sit there for a little bit and I'll be like, oh, if the dog hadn't made a damn noise.
Yeah, the dog had him. You know what? I have to say, coding and drinking at 1 a.m. is like not a good idea with a 3,000.
Yeah, that is a good way to go.
In a kitchen.
That is probably not advised.
Get out of here.
So I did the walk of shame or the drive of shame and the walk of shame into the Apple Store. I stood there for a considerable amount of time, and
Are you gonna try to
ahead.
do like the rice drying technique or anything with the Galago?
I tried the rice thing. The Galago turns on where the MacBook does not,
Oh.
but the screen is very, very pink.
Oh man.
So I think it's going to be a call when I get back. Call System 76 and be like, so
Yeah.
what can we do here, if anything?
Yeah. Jeez. If I come down there and I bring a case of beer. No. So, but then I buy, because again, I stalk you on Twitter. I notice that you crack open the new 13-inch MacBook.
Yep.
And you get an error. What was it? It is the macOS installation could not be completed. Like that's when you open it.
So I used it for one night. One night, I installed all my toolchain, got Xcode running, got this Visual Studio running, Ruby, all the things I need, like just the minimum stuff I need for.
Okay, so you did get past like that first welcome screen.
Yeah, I did some work during the night, turned it off, and it says, "Would you like? Do you want to allow an update?" Like a moron.
Gosh.
I said yes, and that's the screen I saw. Now, there's a detail I left out here that I'm going to kind of run it a little backwards here. I spent the next day, I freaked out. Because now it's Sunday, right?
Right. And you've lost time with the machines being down, going to the Apple Store on iPhone Saturday. And then you get your machine set up with the bare bones, do an update, reboot, and this comes up. I would be beside myself.
I was livid. So I go into this like procedure of trying to diagnose the problem, thinking I will just diagnose it, duct tape it back together, run it for a week,
right,
and then I'm returning it.
You don't got time to go to the Genius Bar and have them hold it all day or even a week.
Right.
You don't have time for that.
I don't have time for any of this, right? And I could return it and just get another one, but then I still have to spend a day paving it.
Yeah. Oh, and plus the financial hit of all of that and trying to make sure
all the pending transactions on my credit card.
Yeah, it's. Woof.
So I start reading that kernel panic, or that it's really not like this kind of a kernel panic. That log, I think they actually call it an update failure. I don't know why it's different, but okay. And I noticed something weird. It was complaining about a Thunderbolt driver.
Huh, good spot.
That's odd.
Yeah.
The only Thunderbolt device I was using was my Apple LG monitor.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I had not been using this monitor for months. And the funny thing was, I had only been using it for now a day. My wife and I have been experiencing horrible Wi-Fi issues.
No.
For a little over oh, yeah.
Didn't I read something about those LG monitors?
I didn't know about it. So this is what's wrong. All these Macs that I've been killing other than by water damage are this problem. Some of them have poor RF shielding, and they can either surge the device you have plugged in. So in this case, obviously it's a Mac thing, so a Mac. And the RF waves screw up your Wi-Fi if your router is near it.
So you're cooking yourself, and you're screwing up your Wi-Fi with this super expensive LG monitor, which looks like they came clean about this issue in February of 2017.
So they have publicly admitted that it screws up your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
If you dig in the deep, dark areas of the Mac rumors and the Apple developer forums, I am not the only person who has been nuking their MacBooks. And when I say I'm not the only, I'm not saying there's like 4 or 5 other guys. It's substantial. And if you tell Apple that you have the LG monitor, which I did not in the past, they just replace your Mac. They don't tell you why, but they just do it.
You notice if you try to buy this monitor now, this LG Ultrafine 5K display, when you go to that page on the store, it says this item is no longer available for sale.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
And rumor, actually not even rumor. I think they said in that
they
roundtable
that they're going to make their own.
This has got to be why.
I'm sure it is, right? How many MacBooks do you think they've replaced? So, with this information, I forcibly turn off the Mac, unplug the LG monitor, turn it back on. It boots like a charm, does the update. We're good to go.
No kidding. So you didn't even have to go around deleting
Netflix
stuff.
starts working again. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because of what? HDCP probably.
Yeah, no, the other thing I had to do was I had to unplug the LG from the power and let it just discharge. And then
so it's totally dead. It's totally
dead.
That's some actual decent troubleshooting there too. Like, because I gotta say, I don't think I would immediately have connected my external monitor is causing my software update to fail. And then that message that you get about your installation being bogus and like you don't have a lot of options. Like it's a very aggressive error message that macOS throws up. Yeah, I mean, you're really lucky that you sat down, put your head together, and went through the log. I would have been so frustrated at that point. I don't know if I would have thought clear enough.
I was a dog's hair from just driving back to the Apple store and being like, give me another one.
Wow.
But it would have still happened, right? Because I've had lots of these problems.
Yeah, that's true.
So the situation as it stands, I have a 13-inch MacBook Pro, which, by the way, the keyboard's significantly better on the 2018 model.
Oh.
I have a, $800 or $900 monitor that's completely useless.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Can you RMA it? I mean, and then do you even want to?
I don't know. I'm not even sure. Like, I know from what I was reading, LG can't actually fix it at this juncture. Like, it requires a hardware fix.
Yeah, it's like they had to fix it. They had, like, I know that there is when you're buying them used, there's like a thing to look for to know if they're the fixed versions or not. Boy, that monitor is totally bogus.
Well, it's and the funny thing is, I was in the Apple store and they're still selling the 24-inch model. So I don't know if it's just the 5K one that's doing this.
Well, they supposedly fixed it too. They could be selling the fixed edition.
No, maybe they're selling the modified ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that is a heck of a story. And now you're able to work. So you're able to get in there. You got it working. Man.
One day I will join the desktop club.
And, build a PC. Build a PC.
No,
that's probably crazy. That's not really your style.
No.
The few PCs we built recently, the actual building of the PC was pretty straightforward. It was all the bad parts that we got that we had to keep exchanging.
Oh, did you buy them from LG? Couldn't help it.
Hey, so I know we're going to do a shorty today, but I just want to throw one Hoopla story at you to see what you think, because this one's brewing some stink, and I'm thinking about covering it in Unplugged, but probably depends on how our chat goes. So part of the internet is really upset at Google because they've started to quietly log you into Chrome in the last update when you log into any Google property. So say Docs or Gmail or Google Photos or YouTube. When you log in there, they're silently in the background logging your browser into your Google account as well, although they're not turning on sync necessarily by default. You'd still have to go in there and say, I want sync. You go in there and there's a little thing and it turns it on. But all of the other things like synced history, bookmarks, actually, no, not bookmarks, but the telemetry and those things supposedly would be tied to your account still. And one of the, apparently passwords and history are included in that, but they're also included in sync. I'm not really sure what everybody's so upset about, other than the one clairvoyant argument that I've heard made. I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of cuts through all the crap. Is your friend sits down at your computer, and you're not logged into any Google property, but they'd sit down at your computer, open up a tab, and sign into Gmail. They've now logged your Chrome browser into their Google account silently in the background. And the other argument I've heard against this is it's just a violation of users' trust. Taking that choice from them and just doing it without saying anything is a sleazy move. I think those are the most poignant arguments I've heard, because as far as I know, as long as sync is turned off, like, they're not getting your history, your passwords, and your bookmarks. But people seem to be inferring that's the case, but I don't believe it is. So what are your thoughts on Google taking this action, the silent login?
So this actually screwed me up deploying an Android app.
Sure, I can see that.
Yeah, because you have to log into your Google account on the Android, or now they call it the Google Play Console. I'm so old. I remember the Android Marketplace.
Oh yeah, that was OG.
So what happens is if you log into that, Chrome now logs you out of your other account, which I don't know if you're logging into somebody else's purposefully made and Google account. So
I have a ton of Google accounts.
Yeah.
I've got a new one now for Linux Academy. I've got my personal one, and I've got several JB ones. So you're telling me it's bouncing the Chrome login every time I move between those accounts?
It seems to be, yeah. So what happened to me was I was trying to upload the app on a customer's. Basically, they made a throwaway Google account on their domain to do the App Store account. But I had what they wanted for the release notes in a Google Doc that was shared to my Michael at the Mad Botter account,
right?
Which immediately got booted. As
you know, you and I think forever we've done docs between our personal Gmail accounts.
Yeah, we've been using our personal ones. Yeah,
but I've used my JB one all day long. For other stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I'm in my work one all day. So what I had to do is log into my Mad Botter one in Safari, because yay,
right,
and keep theirs open in Chrome. And
that is worst thing ever. If that is truly the way, I gotta dig into this more. So I do need to look into this. So because that almost makes it like Firefox is the best browser to use with different Google accounts, especially when you have that containers extension. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before. It's a Mozilla created extension, and by default, it creates a container which you can think of as a completely isolated environment for each tab. So I have a Facebook container, so nothing can exist so Facebook can't track anything outside that container. All of the cookies and everything are in that silo. And I have different containers for different work sites and different Google accounts, and you can set it based on the URL, and then it changes the color of your tab too, and it keeps everything separate. None of them are aware of each other, so I can have 3 different Google accounts in 3 different Firefox tabs. Unfortunately, I'm kind of pulling back from using Firefox these days and switching back to Chrome, unfortunately, because I hate to make a slide backwards like that. But that is just how it's working out for me right now. And so I really am disappointed to see, right as I'm kind of on the cusp of going back to Chrome, I'm really disappointed to see this. And I think I'm going to have to try and install this current version and give it a go. I got to see it for myself. And then,
to see it with my own eyes.
And you see if that's really going to screw me when I bounce around accounts. XMN in the chat room rightly points out, too, that it looks like I could just use Chromium, and then it doesn't use that stuff. So that's also...
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
That's also something to think of. Why I'm going back to Firefox CS. I don't think... Do people really want to hear that? I don't think that...
Why you are not... You went from Firefox to Chrome.
I went from Chrome to Firefox. I was very deep into Chrome because of certain plugins and whatnot. But as Firefox started to get better, I came up with new workarounds as an effort to move over to Firefox. Because I felt like Mozilla had better intentions for the web with their browser, and their browser was an extension of that. Whereas Google's intentions are control and dominance of the web and to ensure a certain amount of Google lock-in while also creating a browser that is fast and makes the web a better experience. So they both have goals to make the web better, but they're kind of rooted in different origins. And I just prefer the Mozilla ones. And, rightfully so. I think they've made a great product in the last couple of years. I just think they've continually improved it. So it was time to switch and try it out. And I've been very happy for the most part, except it continues to give me a couple of pain in the arse issues, like JavaScript bookmarklets don't work on GitHub or Twitter pages, which is a huge break in my workflow. It's something I do all the time for tagging.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, I tag stories and links for shows, all the shows constantly, which then goes into a feed system. And so it's really kind of a critical part of my workflow. But also, it doesn't play well with my Plasma color scheme that I use. So text input fields are all dark with dark text. So the only way I can really read the text is if I highlight the text after I've written it. Chrome doesn't suffer from some problems like that. I've also had just some general lag issues with the UI that I just don't have on. I did side-by-side comparisons, Chrome, same page, loaded them both. Chrome stayed just more responsive, and it just felt faster overall. Like the page load times might go to Firefox, but all the other elements about using the web browser, like the way the bookmark toolbar responds when other tabs are loading, and the way the URL drops down while I'm typing when other things are happening on the system, they just feel laggier under Firefox. Then if you go to the other platforms, if you go to Mac or Windows, which I don't do often, but I have from time to time, Firefox seems to be significantly slower on those platforms. Seems like Linux is sort of the best showcase for it, but Chrome is sort of consistent on every OS. It's sort of the same thing everywhere.
It consistently eats 80% of your RAM, correct?
There's that too, yeah. I try to spec for a lot of RAM. Long story short, for workflow purposes, for knowing where the buttons are, for efficiency, for having extensions, and then just which browser am I using my bookmarks and keeping them updated and keeping things current, I just need to eventually just pick a browser and stick with it. I've been living with Firefox now for almost a year, maybe more, and I'm on the cusp of going back to Chrome right now. And so I know these things are first world problems for sure, but I consider the browser now to be a pretty important tool in my workflow. And so it is something I give quite a bit of consideration for, because features like container extensions, or the fact that it's not auto-logging me into Google properties are really important for something I use all the time. But also the efficiency and the speed and the additional tools that I can use with Chrome are also very important to me. So as the browser becomes more important, it becomes even more critical to me that they're a good tool, that they check all the right boxes. And right now, none of them are really doing it. End of issue. I'm sorry.
It's funny because I have a couple applications that I use, ironically, to develop applications that only work in Chrome, or they kind of work in like Firefox, but they're just not up to snuff. I mean, our the web app we're using for the show is Chrome only.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think they have any intention of supporting Firefox anytime soon. As he checks out for a second. KP in the chat room says, try setting in KDE, leave the GTK settings to light, and then use the built-in Firefox dark theme. And that could solve my text field problems. That, KP, is a great suggestion, and one I could try right now and see if it actually fixes it. Because I would like to stick with Firefox if possible. That would be, that would be the best. Anything I can stick, anything that's open source and the motivations I trust behind the company are ideal. Welcome back.
Remember when Mac people used to tell Linux people that like Linux is unstable crap?
Yeah. What happened?
It just froze.
Your MacBook
went black. Yeah.
Well, we missed you for a hot second there. In podcast time, it was just a brief moment, but here on the live stream,
get it out of here.
It was a few moments there. It was touch and go.
You know what? It's that.
Oh, you're on the wrong mic. All right, fix yourself up. Get yourself fixed up.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, all right. Get yourself sorted. I do have one last bit that we can get to for the end of the show. So when you get your mic sorted,
I think I'm sorted. How do I sound?
Oh yeah, you sound good. Good job.
Yeah.
So Joshua writes in. He says, I've been listening to Coder Radio and Unplugged for a couple of months now, and I love the shows. I'm a self-driving car engineer at Argo AI, I think is how you say it, who works primarily with low-level C++, and I have a quick travel hack. We haven't gotten a ton of these lately, but I'm still collecting them. Coder.show/contact, your travel hacks. Joshua says, when traveling, I like to bring a power strip with me because some airports don't have outlets anymore, everywhere. This way, even if I find a lone outlet that's already in use, I just politely ask the other travelers if I can unplug their devices, and then I'll replug everything into my strip for them, along with my devices. This way, when I go to airports without outlets, I'm almost always guaranteed one whenever I want to go charge up. That's decent, Joshua. And, I've been in hotel rooms, too, where I got in there, and there was like one outlet or two outlets. Or what's becoming even more common is they have those USB ports that are like built into like the clock, or they're built into the to the table next to the bed or the desk. And that's nice for like charging my watch, but for like charging, like a Nintendo Switch or charging a phone, I want something more powerful. So I like Joshua's idea, and I would amend it and say, get one that has USB ports built in. That right there is a solid travel hack. If you've got one, coder.show/contact. Because Mike and I be traveling these days, and sometimes that happens. Right. You go from never traveling to finding yourself having to travel a whole bunch. Yeah, yes. Well, do you want to call it there? Because I know we have to make it short today.
Yeah, let's call it. I think I'm going to do the pickup I need to go do, and then I'm going to go to the Apple Store, and I'm just going to look at all the Macs and watch them one by one kernel panic.
You know what? One of these days, you're going to go over there and you're going to walk out with an iMac Pro, and then you're just going to get a Chromebook and a remote into that sucker and call it good. I foresee it now. I call it right here on Coder Radio 327.
Could be possible.
All right, we got links to stuff we talked about at coder.show/327. You can follow Mike at Dumanuku and check out the new project, griffinradar.com, which is an awesome new app, especially for those of you in the aerospace industry. I'll leave it at that. I'm at Chris LAS. Thank you so much for joining us. You can join us live. Go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar. We tend to do it on Mondays unless things are moving around. And then we try to keep that calendar updated. And then did you know we also have a subreddit? Yeah, I know, right? coderradio.reddit.com. How about that? You can check that out. Submit stories. I try to check that before each show. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning this week's episode of Coder Radio. And we'll see you right back here next week.